Welcome back for another deep dive. We got a pretty hefty stack of research this time, all about the future of construction.
Mhm.
Um, well, it seems like we're talking about way more than just bricks and mortar now, right?
Yeah, you could say that. You've got articles in here, light papers, predictions from all the big industry conferences, even some sneak peeks at what some of these cutting-edge companies are working on. We're talking about a complete transformation of the industry.
Really, a complete transformation.
Yeah,
You've said before that the construction industry isn't exactly known for being on the cutting edge of innovation. So
yeah.
what's driving this sudden leap forward?
Well, you know what they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
And this industry is facing some pretty big challenges these days. Productivity lags, a shortage of skilled labor, not to mention the increasing pressure to become more sustainable. And let's not forget about the profit margins. They're thinner than a sheet of drywall. All of these things are really forcing the industry to either adapt and innovate or become obsolete.
So basically, innovate or evaporate. But I got to ask, what does that actually look like in the real world? Give me an example.
Okay, we'll take 3D printing, for example. One of the articles you sent over talked about a company that 3D printed an entire house in less than 24 hours.
Wait, you mean like a whole actual house, not just a little model?
Yeah, a real livable house, and it
Mhm.
took them less than a day to build.
Wow, okay, my mind is a little blown right now. I thought my 3D printer that makes little plastic toys was cool. What else is out there?
We're talking about things like self-healing concrete, robots working right alongside humans on job sites, and even buildings that can adapt to the environment around them in real time.
Buildings that can adapt, like how?
Imagine a skyscraper that can adjust its ventilation system on the fly based on the weather conditions outside. Or a building made with concrete that can literally repair its own cracks over time, reducing maintenance and extending the lifespan of the structure.
Okay, you definitely have my attention now. But hold on, let's back up for a second. A lot of this sounds incredibly high-tech. Are we talking about a complete overhaul of the construction industry overnight?
Well, not overnight, no. But the shift is definitely happening. And one of the biggest drivers of this whole transformation is digitalization. We're talking about technologies like building information modeling, or BIM as it's commonly known. It's completely changing how we design, plan, and construct buildings.
BIM. I feel like I've heard that before, but to be honest, I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Can you refresh my memory?
Of course, think of BIM like this. You're basically creating a digital twin of a building before a single brick is even laid. But it's much more advanced than just a simple 3D model. This digital twin contains every single detail imaginable, from the layout and structural elements right down to the electrical wiring and plumbing systems.
So instead of architects and engineers and contractors all working off of separate blueprints and documents, everything is centralized in one place.
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. Because it's a dynamic model, any changes made in one area, let's say you move a wall or resize a window, are automatically reflected throughout the entire design. This makes collaboration so much easier for everyone involved: architects, engineers, contractors, and even the client. It drastically cuts down on errors and those costly do-overs that can happen during a project.
So no more of those nasty surprises that seem to always pop up in the middle of a big construction project.
You got it. And it gets even better. You can use BIM to simulate different scenarios for how the construction process might play out. You can optimize the use of materials, even predict potential problems before they even have a chance to occur.
It's like they say, work smarter, not harder.
Mm.
Now, before we move on, I got to ask you about the robots working in construction. That was something I saw in the research and it blew my mind. Are we talking about robots actually taking over construction sites? Is this a sci-fi movie?
It might sound like something straight out of science fiction, but it's actually becoming more and more common. Robots are being used for a ton of different tasks, especially those that are repetitive, physically demanding, or potentially dangerous for human workers. One of your sources talked about robots being used to lay bricks. They can do it with incredible speed and precision. Plus, they never get tired or need a lunch break.
Yeah, I've seen those videos online. It's crazy. They're so precise and efficient.
Yeah.
But it's a little unnerving, too, if I'm being honest. So is this the beginning of the end for human construction workers? Are robots taking over?
That's a valid concern, but it's not really about replacement. It's more about changing the nature of the work itself. Robots are really good at those repetitive or dangerous jobs, which frees up human workers to focus on more specialized tasks. Things that require creativity, problem solving, and decision-making skills. Things that robots just aren't capable of yet.
So it's less about humans versus robots and more about humans and robots working together as a team.
Exactly. It's about leveraging the strengths of both. And this shift actually opens up opportunities for completely new roles within the industry. You even had something in your research about a new job title. Robot manager.
Robot manager.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds intense.
Right. It just goes to show how these technological advancements are reshaping not just how we build things, but also the careers of the people doing the building. I mean, can you imagine? You're overseeing this team of robots, programming their tasks, monitoring their performance, making sure they're working safely and effectively alongside the human crew. It's a whole new world.
Wow, that's definitely a whole new level of responsibility. It's not just about knowing how to handle a hammer and nails anymore. So are you saying that construction workers of the future are going to need to be as comfortable with algorithms as they are with power tools?
Pretty much. And that brings us to another really important point that kept coming up in the research, the skills gap. There's this growing disconnect between the skills that are being taught and the skills that are actually needed to succeed in this new era of construction.
So what are those skills? What does someone who wants to be a robot manager or even just work in this high-tech construction world need to know?
Well, it's a combination of technical skills and what people often call soft skills. On the technical side, knowledge of digital tools like BIM is becoming essential. And then there's data analytics, programming, robotics, sensor technology. Even things like AI and machine learning are starting to come into play.
Wow, that's a lot. It sounds like you need to be part engineer, part programmer, part construction worker, all rolled into one.
In a way, yeah. But it's not just about having all the technical know-how. The ability to work effectively on a team, communicate clearly, solve problems creatively, and adapt to new technologies quickly, those are going to be just as important.
So even in this high-tech world of robots and AI, the human element is still crucial.
Absolutely. And speaking of crucial, we can't forget about another big theme that came up in our research, sustainability.
Right. Construction has a pretty big impact on the environment, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all that concrete we use.
You got it. Concrete production alone is a major contributor to global CO2 emissions. But the future of construction isn't just about building things faster and more efficiently, it's also about building greener.
Okay, so how do we do that? What are some of the ways the industry is trying to reduce its environmental footprint?
Well, one really exciting area is the development of new sustainable materials. You had that article about self-healing concrete, for example.
Yeah, that one really caught my eye. What's the deal with self-healing concrete?
It's amazing stuff. Imagine concrete that can actually repair its own cracks over time. This means we need fewer costly and time-consuming repairs. It extends the lifespan of structures, and it significantly reduces the overall demand for concrete production.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Are there any other eco-friendly materials out there that have you excited?
Yeah, there's a ton of research going on. One of the papers you shared talked about bioplastics. They're made from plant-based materials, which makes them a much more sustainable alternative to traditional petroleum-based plastics.
Good.
And we're seeing more and more buildings using cross-laminated timber or CLT. Super strong, completely renewable, and you can use it for just about anything, walls, floors, even entire buildings.
So hold on. It's like building with giant Lego blocks made of wood.
You could say that. And because CLT and a lot of these bioplastics are lighter than concrete and steel, it's easier and more efficient to transport them, which further cuts down on emissions. Plus, CLT and some bioplastics are actually carbon negative.
Carbon negative. So they actually absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than they emit during their entire life cycle.
Exactly.
That's incredible. That could be a real game changer for reducing the construction industry's environmental impact.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the materials themselves, it's about how we use them. Your research also touched on this idea of designing for disassembly.
Designing for disassembly, what does that even mean?
It basically means we need to start thinking about the entire life cycle of a building right from the very beginning. It's not just about how it's built, but how it can be taken apart and how its materials can be reused or repurposed at the end of its life.
So instead of demolishing a building and sending all those materials to a landfill, we're talking about carefully deconstructing it and giving those materials a second life.
Exactly. This reduces waste, lowers the demand for new resources, and minimizes the overall environmental impact of construction.
It's like recycling, but on a massive scale.
Precisely. And this approach requires a fundamental shift in how we think about construction. We need to move away from the traditional linear model of take, make, dispose, and move towards a more circular and regenerative approach.
It's like thinking about buildings as part of a closed loop instead of just something we use and then throw away. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But with all these challenges and all this change happening in the industry, I have to ask, what about the people who are already working in construction? Are they going to be left behind in this whole high-tech revolution?
Oh, yeah, that's a big concern for a lot of folks. But I think what's really encouraging is that many of these advancements are actually creating amazing opportunities for upskilling and career advancement within the industry.
So it's not about pushing out experienced workers.
Mm.
It's about giving them the tools and the training they need to adapt to these new technologies.
Exactly. Take welding, for instance. It's always been a highly skilled trade that's in high demand. Now, with robotics becoming more common, we're seeing this new role emerging, the robot welding operator.
Robot welding operator, what is that?
These are skilled professionals who can program, operate, and maintain those robotic welding systems.
So you're taking an existing skill set and kind of leveling it up with technology.
Exactly. It's about combining traditional craftsmanship with these powerful digital tools to boost efficiency, precision, and safety. And this isn't limited to just welding. We're seeing it across a bunch of different trades.
That's good to hear. So for someone who's just starting out, maybe hasn't even entered the workforce yet, what would you say to a young person who's considering a career in construction?
I'd say it's an incredibly exciting time to be getting into construction, but you got to be ready and willing to embrace technology. You need to be a lifelong learner, always willing to pick up new skills and adapt. And it's crucial to really think critically about the impact your work has on the planet.
It's not just about building anymore. It's about building better, smarter, and more sustainably.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's why we need this new generation of builders coming in, people who are not only skilled in their craft, but also passionate about using those skills to create a better future for everyone.
I love that. It's a good reminder that even in an industry as old as construction, there's always room for innovation, progress, and making a real difference in the world.
100%. And the most exciting part, we're only just getting started. The future of construction is being written right now, and we all have the opportunity to contribute to it.
Well said. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the future of construction. We covered a ton of ground today, from self-healing concrete and robots on the job site to the importance of sustainability and lifelong learning. What's sticking with you after all this? What will you be thinking about long after this deep dive is over? One thing's for sure, the construction industry is on the verge of a truly incredible transformation. And it's a transformation that's going to impact all of us in some way. So until next time, keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and let's build the future today.